Hello and welcome to the very last chapter of this AutoCAD course, okay? It's chapter 11. We're going to learn how to plot or print the drawing that you've created up until now, which you probably haven't created up until now, but that's okay. I'm going to use this one that I've created for the example, and I'm sure you're going to be drawing some soon. And then when you get to this point, you can go to chapter 11 and you can plot or print your drawing, okay? So we did most of the work around plotting when we did a page setup back in chapter 9, all right, layout. So I'm just going to dive straight into plotting, and printing and plotting are basically the same term. Don't worry about it. AutoCAD uses it kind of interchangeably. So wherever you see the word plot, think print. Wherever you see the word print, think plot. Okay. So there's a few ways you can do this. You can type the plot command, just PLOT. I can go to the big red A up here, and I can go to print down there, and then over to plot over here. Or I can just right-click on any one of the layout tabs that I want to plot. Okay, one of your pages. And then just go to plot over here in the menu that pops up. Okay, and you might get this warning the first time that you try plot, and it says, would you like to batch plot? Because it detects that there's more than one layout tab in your drawing, and so you can actually, using batch plot, you can plot all sheets, simultaneously with a few settings and stuff. That's something you can explore in your own time. We're just going to continue to plot a single sheet. Okay, and then just tick this box not to show me this again if you get annoyed with it. But we're going to plot a single sheet. All right, so click on that option there. Anyway, so the next time you click plot, it should take you straight here, and this is what we want to see. And it's very similar to page setup, okay? It's almost identical. You need to make sure that DWG to PDF is still as your printer plotter. Okay, just double check your paper size there. It should still be A3. That's what we use in the example, so it's going to be A3 for us here too. Make sure that it says layout under here. Make sure that your scale is set 1:1. And then up here under plot style table, this is where you're going to decide if you want to print it in grayscale or monochrome or in color. Okay, so if I drag this out of the way, you'll see my thing is in color right now. So, and I can go down here to preview what my plot would look like. So let's do that now actually, okay? I'm going to click the preview button, and I don't have a plot style selected. It was none, all right? So I should see everything in color. And you'll notice that around the outside of your plot, it says produced by an Autodesk student version. If you have a student version, it's going to be on all your plots, okay? Don't worry about it. And there's no way to get rid of it unless you buy the full licensed version. But this is basically, it's taking me to this new part of the program, which is basically the preview, okay? My plot preview. And everything looks good to me here. Let's say I wanted to change it though, and I actually wanted to print it in grayscale, or at least print it to PDF in grayscale. So I can go up here, I can go and plot this now if I want to, or I can just close this preview and return back to this plot setup over here. Okay, so let's choose something else. Let's go to grayscale, and then I'm going to go to preview again. And you'll see now it's in grayscale. Okay, I've got black, white, and everything that was the colors now represented in a similar shade of gray. I'm going to close this though, and let's go to monochrome so you can see what that looks like too. Monochrome, I selected from this list here. I'm going to go back to preview. And now you'll see that everything is either black or white. Basically, it's pure ink or nothing. So that hatch pattern that used to be gray when I chose grayscale is now completely black. Okay. So you lose a lot of definition in your drawing, but it can make it more legible as well. It's something you just need to decide based on your circumstances. So I'm going to close this again, and I'm just going to go back to none for right now. I wanted to plot in full color according to how I've set up my layers that you can see there in the background. All right, and then under plot options here, we went through this briefly in chapter 9. Just make sure that all of these things are ticked, not all of them, but just the ones that are highlighted here on the screen and in your notes, okay? Plot object line weights. So if you did set up any line weights in your layers, in your layers, and I think I set my wall line weight to be a little bit thicker than the rest, then make sure that is ticked, okay? Because we want to see that come out in the print. And then make sure plot paper space is on there last, and go plot with plot styles. That's important. If you select a plot style here that is anything but none, so if you select grayscale, monochrome, or anything here, make sure you tick this here. Otherwise, when you plot, it will ignore the setting here. Okay, I don't know why they would even give you that option, but it's there. And make sure it's ticked, and then make sure that says landscape, okay, or whatever you set up your page for. In this case, it is landscape, so that's correct. So from this point, I can go and just check it one last time. I can go to preview, and if I'm happy with this, I can go straight up here to plot now, and it'll say it'll just give me a little quick progress window there. Sometimes this can take longer depending on how complicated the drawing is. And then it's going to just open a folder here, my documents, and it's going to ask me where do I want to dump the PDF file that I've printed. So I'm in documents here, layers example, floor plan. So you'll see the file name is made up from the name of your DWG file, layers example, there it is up there. And then it puts a little hyphen, and then it puts the name of this layout in there, okay, which I've named floor plan. So it's very convenient. And then when you're happy with the file name, just click save, okay. And then it'll give you a little thing in the corner there. Oh, it took me straight into it. But it showed me a little window that said your print is now complete. And then it automatically opens the PDF in whatever view you have set up for it. Okay, and here it is. There's a PDF. So now you can take this and email it to someone. And it was really that simple. Okay, I'm just going to get this out the way. And you can zoom in here and you can see that it's all perfectly crisp. Okay, no matter how far you zoom in, everything looks good. All right. And there are all my colors there and everything. So just be aware that if you do print in an option that is like full color with no plot styles, in other words, if you have something like yellow set up, it's quite hard to see that against the white background. Okay, just choose colors that are legible. All right, and that looks good. So I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to close my PDF viewer, and I'm back here in AutoCAD. Okay, so the other thing you might have noticed, if I go back to that PDF, you'll see that my viewport line is showing here, okay, and actually one over there as well. There are two viewports that are set up on this layout, and I'll go back to it here. So here's my one. This is where my main drawing is, and then I've got another tiny viewport over here that I set up so that I could show a little preview of my downlight symbol, okay. And if I go to my model tab, you'll see that I placed my downlight symbol. Oh, I probably just zoomed into the one in the floor plan there. Yeah, okay. So I've got a little separate viewport there. So I've got two going on here. And if I look at my PDF, you'll see that there's a line around it, okay? The frame of the viewport is visible. I don't really want this, okay? It's like a margin within a margin within, like it's just unnecessary. And I like my drawing to look a bit more clean and minimalist than this. So I don't want to show this line. So if you want to hide that line, go back to AutoCAD. You need to set up a layer that you're not going to plot, okay? And so if we go to the layer properties manager over here, you'll remember these icons here let you switch different settings on and off for layers, okay? And the one under this column, I'll drag it out here, it says plot, okay? So I created a layer ahead of time, I called it viewport, and then I clicked on this little icon here. So right now you'll see it just shows a little printer, and if I click on it again, it shows a little like no entry sign next to the printer. That means that all objects on that layer will not plot, okay? They'll still be visible in the drawing so you can work with them and everything, but those objects will not plot, okay? So I created that layer, I called it viewport, okay, hint, hint. I set it not to plot, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these two viewports here, and I'm going to put them onto that viewport layer that I set to not to plot. Okay, and I also made it blue, so that's how I can tell it's now on that layer because it's turned blue. And now if I go back to my plot, let's do it this way for a change, print plot, and I go to my preview, you'll see that it's no longer there, okay? This is my PDF, there's my line, and there's my line there, and now in the new one, since I've added it to that layer that's not plotting, it is now gone, okay? It didn't hide the contents of my viewport, but it hid the frame for me, and this looks a lot better. And then from this point I can go to plots again, and then I can overwrite my old file, save a new one or whatever. Alright, so that's a useful tip for hiding your viewport line, and when it comes to your assessment, exam or whatever, you're going to need to hide your viewport line for that also. So make sure you're familiar with that. And that's it really. That's the end of chapter 11, and that's the end of the course. There's one more chapter in your notes called chapter 12, checklist for assessment, and those are the things that you just need to make sure you're comfortable and familiar with because you will be tested on those. But yeah, you know, it's been one hell of a ride. I'm sure that you are probably excited and bewildered. I'm sure there's a whole range of emotions that you're probably going through right now. Probably a sense of loss that you won't have AutoCAD anymore, but also a sense of excitement for your future. And you're probably already planning your first or second CAD block party with your friends, you know, in one of the weekends coming up soon. And I wish you all the best on your AutoCAD journey. And please contact me if you have any questions. Unless you're still watching this video and the year is 2030. I will be quite old by then, and I probably won't pick up the phone. But yeah, thanks so much for sticking around, and good luck, and practice loads, okay? and peace out.